fire department was called to the 4200 block of Monroe Street about 10 p.m. last night after neighbors noticed that the roof was ablaze and were worried that the homeowner was trapped inside.
They did everything they could. They banged on the doors. They called 911, told the call taker everything they saw. Firefighters arrived very quickly and did in fact find this two-story split foyer single-family home with heavy fire coming from the roof area. During the initial stages of our operation, they did locate a 70-year-old man, occupant of the house. He was brought to the outside. Medics treated and transported to a local hospital where unfortunately he died as a result a short time afterwards.
Family members identified the victim as 70-year-old Willie Mobley.
My brother worked for the Department of Interior for 42 years. He retired and he was just living his life. He had a stroke. He was doing really great. Funny, telling jokes, making people laugh. Just that type of person. Quiet, kept to himself, but everybody around here know him, they love him.
We all grew up here. We were just here. My aunt had her passing a couple years ago, so we're just here gathering up there because grandmother and aunt are all at Fort Lincoln. So, yeah, I'm sad. I'm so sad because the only thing I could think is he couldn't get out.
Given that this is, I believe, the fourth fire recently where it's affected some elderly people, seniors, what concerns do you have about that?
Well, number one, we know automatically that the very young and the very old are affected most by fires, mainly because of mobility issues. Also troubling is the fact that of the 4 fire fatalities we've had this year, no working smoke alarms are located in these homes. So we're going to continue with our aggressive efforts to install smoke alarms in every house in Prince George's County. Perhaps we need to start targeting senior citizen communities, town hall meetings and things of that nature to get the word out that we're here to help.
Now, officials estimate that the fire caused about $150,000 in damage. From Colmar Manor, I'm Patricia Vallone, CTV News.
With a bullhorn in hand, Morgan Meneses Sheets makes her message loud and clear.
Hey, we want to see action today. Protect our kids, not the NRA.
She and others who are gathered outside the state capitol are calling on lawmakers to tighten up the loopholes in Maryland's gun laws.
The rules around carry permits are being weakened by our current gubernatorial administration. We still have bump stocks. This is the ability to have large rounds of ammunition that are used in these mass shootings in our schools. Instead, we've got lawmakers saying, let's arm teachers. Let's put guns in churches. More guns is not the solution.
It's time for our elected officials to listen to their constituents and to stand up to the NRA and finally move forward comprehensive, common sense gun reform.
The small group is part of a larger movement pushing to try and stop gun violence in the wake of the massacre at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where 17 students and teachers were gunned down. 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz has been charged in the murders.
And it's been 1 month since Parkland, Florida, and it's been months since Sandy Hook, and over, and we've just had enough. I don't want to have to worry that when I send my kids to school each day that they won't come home.
Rob Keithan says changes could protect his 2.5-year-old daughter, Eleanor.
My daughter's going to be going to school in the fall, and I fear for her, I fear for my niece and nephew, I fear for all kids who go to school not knowing if a shooter is going to walk in to their classroom that day. It's terrifying, and it's completely unacceptable in a society that could absolutely eliminate weapons of mass murder.
After the rally, they'll be taking this fight one step further to the offices of the lawmakers here in Annapolis, demanding that they sign these petitions, promising not to support the NRA.
Get a pledge. Get our lawmakers in Maryland to say no NRA money. They won't be puppets to an organization that pushes endless rhetoric to stop.
I'm Katara Jones in Springdale. Students at Flowers High School are taking a stand against gun violence. Take a look over here. As you can see, these students have already walked out of class and they are standing in the bus parking lot, but they are here to make their voices heard. Beginning at 10 a.m., students left class to participate in National Walkout Day. The nationwide student-led demonstrations took place across the county, even here at Laurel High School.
17 people were murdered,
and 17 people were wounded by a gunman that came in and started firing shots. Even though I'm 1,151 miles away, I felt that. The students held a moment of silence to remember the 17 people killed in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High a month ago today.
I just commend the young people for doing what they're doing. It reflects back going back into the 60s when I was growing up and in school in terms of protesting during the civil rights movement.
The Student Government Association launched a campaign this week called Enough is Enough. They are calling for an end to gun violence.
We want the violence to end, but we don't want this momentum to be lost, because we are the future of not just Maryland or the East, we're the future of America.
Donning orange shirts and releasing orange balloons, students say they will continue to push for stricter gun control laws. Reporting in Laurel, Katara Jones, CTV News.
Well, the Bowie Police Department is asking you to be vigilant. This after 3 package bombs detonated in Austin, Texas, killing 2 people and injuring 2 others. Now, officials say Texas might be thousands of miles away, but this kind of thing can happen anywhere. Here are some tips to keep you safe.
Check for return address if it's unusually titled or posted, if the address is misspelled. Also, see if the postage is coming from a foreign country, if they're not expecting a package from a foreign nation or anything like that, that it would be cause for concern. If there's oil stains, or if the package is deformed in any way, or it doesn't seem to be sealed properly, maybe heavily taped with unusual packing tape, or it's become, unfortunately, more violent. And people just need to be more aware of potential hazards and threats, especially with, unfortunately, a lot of folks out there with mental illness and foreign countries that may have some intent to do harm to U.S. citizens.
The domestic incident inside a Capitol Heights hotel leads to injuries in a barricade situation. It happened at around 8:30 this morning at the Country Inn near Hampton Park Mall. According to investigators, the man assaulted the mother of their 6-year-old son. He then allegedly assaulted a person who tried to intervene. Police say the man then holed up inside a room with the little boy, but eventually police say he gave up.
The suspect came out of the room, and his 6-year-old boy was released to the custody of the family. 6-year-old boy is doing just fine. We do have 2 individuals from the earlier assault who have been transferred to the hospital. The male suspect is in custody. The Prince George's County Police Department is investigating.
The debate over gun control continues as young people take to the streets calling for tougher laws. Senator Ben Cardin hears directly from students in Montgomery County about the best ways to keep communities secure. Cardin updated the teens on what Congress is currently doing to ensure school safety while listening to their suggestions on how to deal with the issue.
At a minimum, we need a national law for comprehensive background checks and the elimination of assault weapons in private ownership. That's a minimum.
Do you think that Democrats need to be more aggressive in Congress? And if you do, how do you plan to help aid that?
Right. It's a great question. Let me first give you the parameters of what we can do and what we can't do. That is, the party that's in the minority. Right now, the Republicans control the White House, the House, and the Senate. The Republicans control what is put on the floor of the United States Congress. Democrats cannot put a bill on the floor of the Congress. We can't demand a vote.